All right, what's up? Tonight we're gonna look at some Pioneer SP-BS22-LR. Now, obviously you click this video because you're interested in these. Even though these are not new, I believe these came out in 2013. I did not acquire them till last year, and I got them used as payment for some work on some other speakers. I've had them a while, I've listened to them, and I like them a lot like most other people that have them. But I figured I would review them. I've reviewed some other newer speakers, but I figured I'd review them. Even though they're not new, I'd review them anyway because, like me, not everybody that is going to be getting these is going to be getting them new. And you never know, years down the road and yada, yada, yada. I'm not only going to review new things on this channel. It'll be a lot of older used stuff because, like me and many other people, buy a lot of secondhand audio equipment off of eBay or your local thrift stores or yada, yada. So just because it's not new doesn't mean it can't be reviewed. And I know there's a bunch of reviews on these already, but this is going to be my review. And everyone else is kind of giving their take on it. This will be my take. If you have a set, do your own video and give people your take. So we're just going to run down the specs here right off the bat. These are a bass reflex bookshelf, two-way, frequency range of 55 to 20,000 hertz, 6 ohm, 85 decibel sensitivity. That's at 2.83, and 80 watt power handling, crossover at 3 kilohertz or 3,000 hertz. Not magnetically shielded, which doesn't really matter anymore these days. 4-inch woofer, 1-inch soft dome tweeter, approximately 9.1 pounds each. So, we're just going to jump right into it. Pull these. I love these speakers, but I can't get around these covers. They're just hideous. This design, I don't know. I'm sure some people like it. Aesthetics are totally, looks and aesthetics are totally opinion-based. But for me, I do not like the looks of these kind of weird round grills. If they would have just done a regular square grill on the front, it would look so much better. Half the time, I don't ever have these covers on because they're hideous. I don't even know if they're... No, they're not reversible. So if you're like some other people on YouTube and you want to put them upside down, you could have to leave the covers off. Or just leave the covers on and have the Pioneer upside down. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about the covers. Plastic nubs and 2 rubber grommets as usual. Now, 1-inch soft dome tweeter that looks to be slightly horn loaded, and a 4-inch, what do they call this, like a front structure 4-inch woofer. It's reinforced to be very rigid, which I would agree. It does look rather small in there. You take that cover off, you expect a little bit more, and you take it off and you're like, oh. And it doesn't help the kind of the face of the tweeter is almost as big as the woofer, so it kind of makes the woofer seem small. But putting a smaller woofer, a 4-inch woofer, in such a large cabinet, this is a rather large enclosure for a 4-inch woofer. That's somewhat of how they're getting the low end out of these 4-inch woofers, is they're giving them a lot of volume to work in. Now, let's get a little closer here. You can see the cone is, it's a polypropylene cone, I believe, but it is kind of like textured, or has like this pattern to it, and it makes it just seem a lot more rigid. Nice rubber, good rubber surrounds, and then a nice soft dome tweeter there. 1-inch soft dome, if you didn't hear me the first time, and then whoop, bumping the camera as usual. All right, there we go. We got the rear. Nice set of binding posts. And there's your Andrew Jones signature. If you don't already know, these are produced by Pioneer, but designed and engineered by Andrew Jones. Let's see, what do they got for specs on the back here? 80 watts, 6 ohm, and a couple different languages. Audio artistry by Andrew Jones. Alrighty then. And see what size porthole we got here. About 2 fingers or so. It's a heck of a port for a small woofer. And if you haven't noticed, they are not perfectly square. They have these rounded edges. They taper back and get smaller in the rear. So as they look big, and they still are big for only having a 4-inch driver, having this taper back, you are going to lose some volume. But even with that, I'm sure the internal volume of these is still quite a bit for the 4-inch woofer. Now, was there anything else? No. Okay. The reason they do it like this, with this tapering back, is it helps. Having this side being curved is going to make it more rigid, which is going to help it resist resonance. The sides, you want a speaker cabinet to be super solid. The only thing you want vibrating in a speaker cabinet is the speaker. You don't want the cabinet vibrating. You want it to be solid. Now, if the cabinet, if you got thin walls, no bracing, and the cabinet walls start to vibrate, that's called resonance, which can possibly dramatically screw up the speakers. Well, we're just going to say it can mess up a lot of things. So you just don't want it. So having this curved sides is going to strengthen those sideboards. And then it's also, having that curve is going to reduce standing waves inside the cabinet. Having this curve in is going to help. I believe it would also help reduce resonance and standing waves inside the cabinet as well. More so than just a plain old square box. So, next thing is let's pull the drivers out and look inside. If you didn't notice, they're in a fake like black ash veneer, which as far as I know, it's the only color you can get them in. These ones are a little bit beat up, and I thought about peeling them and rewrapping them with a different veneer. Okay, got all the screws removed. Take a swig of beer real quick. All right. Let's see. Pop these suckers out to have a look inside. Oops. There we go. Get this little guy out of there. Oh yeah, this is a hefty little guy. Nice big magnet on him. Ooh, vented pole piece, which I hope. Not 100% sure. You can correct me if you want, but I believe it helps to reduce air pressure behind the dust cap. Goes up through the center of the voice coil up behind the dust cap and helps prevent any air pressure or anything from building up back there. And maybe it has other uses, but that's all I can think of off the top of my head. Let's see if we can wiggle these connections off. They don't look to be soldered on like some. They might just be a snap-on deal. Yeah. Well, maybe not. As usual, I don't want to be yanking on these and accidentally break them. We'll just set him off to the side real quick. And see if we can, oh here. Oop, there we go. See what we got on the Twitter. Good size tweeter here. Nice, good size magnet. It's got a good weight to it. This is plastic, which arguably doesn't really matter, especially at this price point. Yeah, it looks like a nice tweeter. Gasket material on the back side of both drivers. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. You can see down in there. You can see the port is not flared on the inside. It's only flared on the outside, which is okay, as long as the port is the right size. That should be okay. I've not really got any chuffing out of these. The 4-inch driver does get going, but it really doesn't move a ton of air. So, and that is a rather large port for this driver. So I have not really had any issues with chuffing. But down in there you can see there is a crossover, but it's attached to the rear binding post. So I'm going to have to pull the binding post out to get a closer look at that. And then there is a little bit of batting or damping material in there. Really not much. I thought there'd be much more than that in there. Now, I have not tested these myself. I do have a calibrated mic and some stuff to where I can start testing speakers, but there's already a lot of information online, and these, which I already figured they would since they have Andrew Jones's name on them, they're already quite good. So I am not going to do any of my own testing. All the stuff I've seen online, these test quite well for their price and what they are. And by the way, the price on these right now, I'm going to post a link to Amazon, but I can't guarantee anything. But right now, before I did this, I looked and they were $100. They were 99. I think they're just $99.99 on Amazon. I know other websites still list them for like $129.99. But $100 a pair, even $130 a pair, is still okay because they are a great little speaker. But at the same time, these have been out long enough. I don't know. I looked a couple days ago. There was a couple pairs of these for sale on eBay for well under $100. So if you don't really care about them being brand new, you could probably find, if you waited long enough, you could find a pair of these used for a pretty good price. So I'll put a couple screws back in here. I can't find my Allen bits for my drills, so we're doing this the old-fashioned way. I gotta put a couple screws in here just to keep the drivers from falling out when I flip them over. Before I actually put this all back together, see if I can get this tweeter back out real quick. I want to look at that front baffle thickness. All right, where's my tape? I believe the actual thickness without the chamfer, what is that? About 3/8, and then overall maybe 5/8. Can't quite tell. Where's my mic? Zero inch. The front, or this, where the speaker's mounted to, is 0.427-ish. So that's more than 3/8. I can't remember. 3/8 is like 0.375. Just a little over 3/8. And then the whole shebang is 0.668. So I think 5/8 is 0.625. So we'll just call it a 5/8 front baffle. So that's a good size. The sideboards feel not quite as thick. The sides might be 1/2 inch or maybe the same, but I'm going to go with a 5/8 front baffle, which is pretty reasonable. Propped up. All right, the back is Phillips. All right, here we go. Oops, come on. There we go. Yeah, that batting. I just thought there'd be more than that in there, but again, like I said, these speakers have been tested and they already test pretty good, so I'm not going to add any more batting or anything to the inside because I don't really want to mess with the way they're already been designed. They're good the way they are. Andrew Jones obviously knows what he's doing, so. And here we go. I believe they said this is a 6-component crossover. So it looks like here you got an air core inductor right here. This air core inductor, resistor, another resistor, but this air core inductor is going to be for the woofer. Here's an iron core inductor on top here for the woofer, an iron core. Then on the other side you got an air core inductor for the tweeter, which is what you want. And this is I believe they consider it a film and foil or an audio grade capacitor, so that's good. This is not. This is a electrolytic capacitor, which, depending on how they're using it, I'm not sure. It said it's a 3K or a 3000 hertz crossover. The resistors could be being used as impedance balancing or Zobel networks. And then you have an inductor and a crossover for the woofer. So there'd be a second order on the woofer and then an inductor and a capacitor. Sorry, did I say capacitor? Man, tired. You got the air core inductor and electrolytic capacitor, possibly. I can't see the traces very well, as the second order on the woofer, and then the air core inductor and audio grade capacitor as the second order on the tweeter. And then these resistors could, it doesn't say on the back of the drivers what ohm they are or anything, but these could possibly, or no. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what they're for. I can't think of it right now, because I think if they're used as Zobel, there should be another capacitor in there somewhere. If you know, put it in the comments. Either way, this is a very acceptable crossover for a speaker at this price point. This is definitely good. Like the other speakers I've done, the Sony SS-CS5s had a very had an excellent, acceptable crossover for their price, and so did the DCM. The Dayton B652, on the other hand, did not. But it's okay, because they are not in this price range. They're not in this class. Getting crossovers of this caliber is definitely an upgrade. Wasn't always the case years ago. So it's nice to see a lot more of these affordable speakers are coming with good quality crossovers. You could make the crossovers better. You could, could do a lot more with the crossover if you wanted to, but like I said, these crossovers that are coming in, a lot of these, I'm not, you could call them budget, but I'm going to say affordable bookshelf speakers is quite good. So these Andrew Jones Pioneer SP-BS22-LR bookshelf speakers that have been around for quite a few years yet. These things kind of hailed king for quite a while. I know Mike has come out with some stuff that's, giving them a good challenge. The Sony SS-CS5s, those DCMs I've done, and I think there's even a few other ones out there I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But these are some of the, I think these are what kind of started it all. A lot of the other ones came out to compete with these and overtake these. So these are a pretty well respected speaker in their little in their niche, in their place in the market. So I'm gonna get the screws and everything put back in, and I think we'll set them up and get set up for a sound demo video. If you don't come back for the sound demo, which you don't have to, because YouTube sound demos realistically are pointless, but they're fun, so why not? But if you're not coming back for the sound demo, please like and subscribe. If you like this kind of content, put down in the comments if you got any other affordable budget speakers that you want me to work towards getting my hands on and opening up and looking at. I don't plan on doing too much high-end stuff. I want to focus more on stuff that the majority, the everyday people are going to use. Stuff that a lot of people are going to buy and have and enjoy. Not so much the niche stuff. Maybe down the road, if I can get my hands on it, I'll do some a little bit higher-end stuff. But for now, I want to focus on stuff that a lot of people know about and can afford and can possibly, be happy with for, what it costs. So if you don't come back for the sound demo, I guess that's good night. See you later. I almost forgot to do my binding post depth check that I always complain about. These look like very nice binding posts, which they are pretty common style. But let's see how deep they are. Oh, another swing and a miss. I mean, it's okay. It's enough to get it in there, but it's just so... It's just, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you can back these off like that. See, I don't know. Do these stop? Nope, they screw all the way off. So, even if you back them up like that... come on. To help support the banana plug, it's not going to work out. Come on. Look at me. There we go. Yeah, because a lot of the ones that back up, then they have a deal on the threads to prevent them from backing all the way off. You can kind of snug them down when they're out. But these, like that, they're just going to vibrate and rattle. So you can't do that. You got to keep them screwed down tight. So, full-length banana plug, swing and a miss. Shorter generic banana plug, more acceptable, but still not even deep enough to fully accept the shorter generic banana plug. So, another one. I don't know. Eventually, I'll find a speaker someday. It's got, in this price range, it's going to have decent banana plugs. But, oh well. Moving on to the sound demo.